Hello everyone. Today we will tell you something about surveillance and data protection on the internet and tools to support data protection competent behavior. First, we will start with data protection and security on the internet and give you a short overview by answering the questions below. Then we will present the laws on data transfer and security. And at the end, you will get a presentation of different tools to support data protection competent behavior. I start with the part about data protection and security on the internet. The term data protection can easily be misunderstood. It is not about protecting any data, for example from unauthorized access or misuse, but it's specifically about protecting a person's privacy and his or her personal data. Personal data is defined in the GDPR as any information relating to an identified or identifiable natural person. An identifiable natural person is someone who can be identified directly or indirectly, in particular by reference to an identifier. This can be, for example, the name, occupation, or online ID, such as an email address, IP address, or location coordinates. But what exactly does surveillance on the internet mean? Tracking is the most common surveillance on the internet. A working definition by the World Wide Web Consortium says, tracking is the collection of data regarding a particular user's activity across multiple distinct contexts and the retention, use, or sharing of data derived from that activity outside the context in which it occurred. There are many different ways tracking can be happening, many different parties that can be involved, and many different purposes for doing so. You can, for example, be tracked by your own web browser, which monitors your browsing behavior to personalize web content recommendations, or you can be tracked by your search engine or an advertising technology company to target ads based on your past behavior on websites using cookies. With the advent of smartphones and Internet of Things devices, the possibilities for tracking have increased. You now might also be tracked by apps accessing the GPS system on your smartphone, or your conversations might be listened by a smart speaker in your living room. All this information can be used to build ever more detailed personal profiles about the users.
Why data protection is necessary. Data security plays a key role in our society. Most of us, when we are online, we do not usually read the terms and conditions and simply click on the agree button over there. We unknowingly give away personal information. This is then collected, accessed, analyzed, and used for content services on social media and sometimes misused as well.
In the digitalized world, we all end up storing information online. Every website that you visit on the internet is storing information about you in some form or other. The issue with protecting our personal privacy is that we, by nature, want to be friendly and accommodating. Companies are able to take advantage of this by asking for information that we are usually all too willing to give away, even if we shouldn't be. Most websites in the internet use cookies to store information about the user. These cookies can store a variety of information within them, which are mostly our personal information. When we open bank accounts, we create a username and password. The accounts are linked to a personal email address, which is not a secret and is known to all of our friends and family. Trackers can utilize our online email address as an initial step in acquiring access to our bank accounts, then the game is all done. Knowing about all these, we should be aware of what data we are giving and try not to share too much. For example, when asked for your phone number at the checkout, try not to give them any. When asked for a zip code, give them the zip code of the store instead of home. With these small steps, you can safeguard yourself from the data threat. In the next slide, here are the third party access to our data. Make sure that these are to its minimum. Here are the history settings which I have paused because though it is between you and Google, but it is never between you and Google. Google is liable to sell all of your information to third parties and make use of your data.
Now we will be talking about laws on data transfer and security. The German region of Hesse passed its first law in 1970 and national laws emerged soon afterwards with Sweden, Germany and France, and as of January 2018 over 100 countries had adopted data protection laws. Over time, regional legal frameworks were also adopted and they were also modernized in 2018. The GDPR, or the General Data Protection Regulation, is a mandatory regulation that ensures a harmonized approach across all EU member states. It came in force in 2018, replacing the old Data Protection Act of 1998, and as seen here, we have added some of the other data protection regulations that are included.
Tools to support data protection. On internet with our personal data such as name, date of birth, contact details, even more sensitive data such as bank details are also collected despite the existing laws. Therefore, data needs to be protected. Many tools are available on internet which can help users to protect their data from being stolen. For example, browser Tor and Brave, search engines such as DuckDuckGo, browser glossary, password manager, Bitwarden, antivirus Avast, and messaging apps such as Telegram and Signal. Antivirus program. To protect our computers from malware, we should use an antivirus program. Malware allows criminals to access or damage data on our computer without our knowledge. When choosing antivirus software, we need to decide whether to go for free or paid software. Free version often offer fewer functions than the commercial version. Therefore, it is worthwhile to make a precise decision while going for a antivirus. We can use Avast, which is a free antivirus. Other alternatives to that is we can use WebRoot, Bitdefender, AVG, and AVR. Password manager. Due to the number of online services that we use every day, the number of passwords that we need to remember has increased over time. And even with the increasing complexity of the password managers are becoming more and more popular as they are easier to choose and give more secure passwords every day. Therefore, when choosing a password manager, we should make sure that it meets certain requirements such as up to date encryption. It is generally not advisable to store personal passwords in the password manager of browsers as third party can quickly gain access to them there. On the other hand, we can see the password manager Bitwarden. There are other alternatives to Bitwarden such as LogMeOnce, PassHub, NotPass, etc.
In the following short overviews, we will list the two best private web browsers which were both top performers in several tests by PCMag. Both browsers use the DuckDuckGo search engine instead of Google. In addition, the best private web browser extensions are also presented. The first privacy web browser we will introduce is Tor. The advantages are Tor is easy to use and available for all devices. With Tor, user data is encrypted particularly well because, like an onion, it travels through numerous layers until the desired anonymity is achieved. Tor has many privacy settings that additional browser extensions for privacy are not necessary. The disadvantages of Tor are that the loading of websites is very slow. In the screenshot you can see the user interface of Tor. Tor uses the search engine DuckDuckGo. It is an internet search engine that prioritizes the privacy of searchers. As a user, you have the possibility to renew your identity in the internet at any time by clicking on New Identity. Furthermore, Tor has 3 security levels. You can change these at any time by clicking on the sign. Then this page opens. As the name suggests, the safest security level is the most secure, but has the most disadvantages when surfing. Let's move on with Brave. The advantages of the Brave browser are that it is easy to use. In addition, unlike Tor, the browser is very fast because it is based on Google Chrome. As a user, you have many private settings with the browser. You can also use the browser on your mobile phone. The disadvantages of Brave are that there are still a few gaps in the extensions of the browser, and not all information is displayed on the website if the privacy settings are set too high. In the user interface of Brave, you can see that it also uses the DuckDuckGo search engine. It also shows you how many trackers have been blocked in total. Brave also has many privacy settings. In the Brave browser, you can set the security level of the ad blocker and also block fingerprinting.
There are other browsers that respect your privacy on the internet. You can read a detailed comparison of the browsers in Muchmore's articles down below. Moving on to browser extensions. A browser extension is a type of plugin that allows you to add certain functions and features to your internet browsers. Extensions are used to block annoying ads on websites and to prevent your search history from being tracked. Ghostery has often been mentioned and praised in various articles. This is why we would like to introduce the extension. In terms of advantages, it blocks trackers and advertisements and is free for Chrome, Firefox, and Microsoft Edge. The disadvantage of this extension is that some websites recognize it and, as a result, restrict the user access to or usage of certain services.
Now we want to introduce to you safe messaging apps. Every day millions of people exchange private messages via messaging apps. In the process, large amounts of personal data are collected and stored. When choosing a messaging app, make sure that you use end-to-end encryption, which means that only the sender and the recipient of the messages have the necessary keys to read the messages sent. A key part to mention is also the storage of metadata, which is, for example, your electronic fingerprint. Metadata includes data about the person that you are communicating with, how long and at what times are you texting with that person, and many other information. In a broad summary, you get to know what surveillance on the internet is all about. You learn what data protection on the internet means and which laws should protect you on the internet and with which tools you can protect your privacy on the internet. Here we have added all the references that we used for our research, and if you are interested, you can use them yourself to learn something more. In the end, we want to say thank you for listening, hope you enjoyed it and learned something new with us.